I can't stop yawning and it's making my eyes water so much. Oh my god. Becky, look at her butt. It is so big. Hi everyone, I'm Katrina and today we're going to talk about my shame. There's a lot of popular books out there, especially on BookTube, that a lot of people have been talking about more recently or just in the past few years. And there's quite a few of those really popular books that I haven't read, and some of these really do sadden me. I want to have read these books that I've heard such great things about and to be able to talk about them with everybody and not stand in the corner watching these people talking about it being like, oh my god, they look like they're having so much fun. I hope I don't overhear any spoilers. That is my subtle way of saying please don't spoil any of these books for me or I will cut you through the screen. It works, I swear. So I'm going to be talking about some of the books and series that I have not read or at least completed. So let's get started, why don't we? So the first one I'm going to talk about is kind of a classic. At the very least, it's a classic in terms of fantasy fiction. I love fantasy. My favorite genre. It sounds like something I would really enjoy. I've watched all the movies several times and really like them. It's Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, that's a painful one, isn't it? I have read The Hobbit though, so baby steps. Baby steps. For a long time, this is one that I've had a bit of interest in reading. I knew that someday I would pick up these books and read them, but it just hasn't happened. I think one thing I've found kind of intimidating is I've heard from a lot of people that the writing style can be kind of tricky to read. So from the get-go, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to need to really commit some time to this so I can really focus on it. I also haven't read the Mistborn trilogy or whatever you can really call it with like the extra books. Is there like a second trilogy for the Mistborn books that's kind of related? I'm not entirely sure how it all works, but I haven't read the Mistborn trilogy, nor have I read the Stormlight Archive. The only Brandon Sanderson book that I have read is Warbreaker, which I really loved. And I think the reason why I'm so disappointed in myself in not having picked up any of his other books is because I really did enjoy that. I loved the writing and the magic system and the world and the politics and everything, and I'm just kind of thinking to myself, since I loved that so much, why haven't I picked up any more of his? Maybe it's just because they're massive books and big books are slightly intimidating? Maybe? There's also the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo, and this is one that I am really kicking myself about just because I've made the decision to read the Grisha trilogy first. I've heard pretty much across the board that people have loved the Six of Crows duology so much more than Leigh Bardugo's first trilogy that I feel like if I start with Six of Crows, my expectations are just going to be so much higher and I might be more let down if I read the Grisha trilogy afterwards. Perhaps I've just made that decision to read the Grisha trilogy first. I haven't read it yet, so that's why I haven't also picked up Six of Crows. The Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. Originally, I actually had decided that I probably wasn't going to pick up this trilogy because I'd heard kind of mixed things. Like, the people that enjoyed the book really love it, and then the people that didn't were quite disappointed. So I was kind of like, oh, I've heard so many mixed things. I'd rather focus my attention on books that I'm just really, really excited about and I think I really will enjoy. So I kind of made that decision. And then I read Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor earlier this year and it blew me away. I was just in so much awe that I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. So I have changed my mind on the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I've ordered the books, I now own them, so I'm going to give them a chance. And I think a lot of you will be incredibly pleased to hear that because those of you who knew that I wasn't going to pick up these books were just like, why? Why? The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. This is one that I've just heard so many fantastic things about. I'm really excited to pick up these books and I cannot tell you why I haven't started it already. I honestly couldn't tell you why. I'm pretty sure I've put it on a few TBRs, potentially readathon TBRs in the past. Like, I've actually actively planned on reading it, but just never gone through with it. I have read some other books by Maggie Stiefvater. I did read Shiver, which I really didn't enjoy. I read The Scorpio Races, which I thought was okay. Even though I haven't loved any of the other books that I read by her, I have a really strong feeling that I will absolutely adore The Raven Cycle. So there's really no reason why I haven't picked them up. The next one is actually an author. I have never read any of this author's works. They've come out with so many books as well. You'd think I would have happened upon one by now, but I haven't. And that is Stephen King. So I have not read any Stephen King books. I do own one. I actually picked it up this month because I saw the trailer for the Dark Tower movie. It looked really good. I'm actually really excited to go see it. And Alex was really excited by the trailer as well. So I decided to pick up the first book in the Dark Tower series so that I can read that book and then also lend that to Alex so he can read it, and then we'll be ready to go see the movie. The remaining series that I'm going to be talking about are ones that I've actually read at least one book from the series, but I just haven't finished them. And these are completed series. Well, except for one, I'm sure you can guess which, because who knows when the next book is coming out. But there are still other books in that series that are out that I should have read by now. So first of all is the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. I have only read A Game of Thrones. I'm pretty sure that I own the rest of the books in that series that are currently available. And I read A Game of Thrones probably 4 years ago. No, it would have been longer than that actually. I read the first book when the first season of the TV series came out, because I like read half of the book, then watched half the season, then read the last half and watched the last half of the season. So it's been a really long time since I've read that first book. The main reason why I haven't continued is because they're really scary to look at. The editions that I have are the mass market paperback ones. So I mean, they look kind of cute and small, but it's deceiving. Like, I'm pretty sure a couple of them have over 1,000 pages. Next, I'm going to be talking about some of the series that Cassie Clare has come out with. So I've read the original trilogy for The Mortal Instruments. I've decided I'm not going to continue with the rest of that series, the last 3 books that were added on, just because I didn't love those books. And I also haven't finished The Infernal Devices. So I have read Clockwork Angel twice, I believe. I've read the actual novel form, and I've also read the graphic novel version of it, but I haven't finished the series. I started reading, is it Clockwork Prince, the second one? I started reading it. I fell into a bit of a reading slump, to be honest. I just wasn't really into it, so I decided to put it down for the time being. I'll get to it one day because I think I will quite enjoy the rest of the series, but it just hasn't happened. And I know I have not watched the Shadowhunters series, and I have no intention of watching it. I also haven't finished the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. I've read the first 3 Percy Jackson books, I just haven't read the last 2. I bought the box set maybe 4 years ago, and I think I've read each of the books so far, maybe a year apart, which I don't think is the best option. It's a series that I think I definitely would have enjoyed marathoning the books for, but I also think that I would have kind of enjoyed reading the books if I had started them when I was younger, because they are like middle grade novels. I think I just started reading the books a little later on in life, so that's probably why I haven't felt any real drive to finish the series. I will though, perhaps one day. I mean, I do have an interest in reading the other books that Rick Riordan has come out with, but there's just so many books, so many different series. And the last one that I'm going to be talking about is one that I'm not too ashamed of, because the last book in the series I think came out last year, this year, but that is the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I did read A Darker Shade of Magic back when it came out. I did like it. I just never bought the sequel, so I never read it. I do really want to finish the series though. I've heard so many great things about it, and I'm planning on rereading A Darker Shade of Magic and kind of buddy reading the books in the series with some of my friends. So those are some of the popular books and series that I have not read or finished yet. It's definitely not all of them. There's certainly more books and series that are quite popular that I also haven't read. For example, like the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J Maas. I've read the first book, but I didn't really include it since I'm planning on reading the second book in a couple of days. There are certainly plenty more books that I also haven't read, but I'm not going to talk about everything that I haven't read because that's going to be a really, really long video. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If any of the books and series that I mentioned in this video are ones that you think I really need to make an effort yesterday on, definitely let me know. I know I need to have read all of them by now, but if there's any in particular you think I should start sooner rather than later, then I would love to hear your recommendations. But that is all that I have for now, and I will see you very soon with a new video. But until then, I will talk to you in the comments. Bye!